Cloud. Okay. What's up, Rick?
Another day in paradise, my friends. Another day in
Oh,
paradise.
man, what's good, dude?
So,
Yeah, so everybody, if you don't know, this is Rick Martin. Y'all already know what's up with Rick. Yesterday, or I think we linked up on the Law
yeah, the
Commoneers,
commoners law group. I'll
Law
tell you
Commoner
what,
Law
let
Group.
me let
Yeah.
me close the curtain behind me. It's a little
Okay, okay.
bright.
So yeah, I finally got to meet him. Y'all know when you search up Right to Travel, still on YouTube to this day, he's like one of the top five. I'm trying to get my way up there, but these guys got it taken over. They will not let go of beating over Rick Martin and some other videos. But um, yeah, Rick Martin, y'all already know what's up. Hey, Rick, I just wanted to have you come on and introduce yourself, bro. I mean, you know, a lot of people already know you, but still, it'd be proper to get a good introduction. Come on with it.
Right. Well, I appreciate the introduction, and the common law is the constitutional law. And keep that in mind, what we've discussed before. The Constitution does not give you your rights. Your rights are unalienable, and they're endowed to you by your Creator. And one of the books that we were talking about that I think everybody should try to find because it's great. It's a great book to have, and it's the Aspen Law Book series. Aspen, what is it? Aspen Casebook series, and by Kreminsky, Constitutional Law. And you can find this. I bought mine new and it's just under $400, but you can find it on Amazon or eBay and stuff used, and you can get them for like 21 bucks.
Hey, we've been reading from that very heavily in relation to our advanced procedural canonical workflow that we're doing right now for people so that they can just understand, a lot of the things that they can invoke and utilize and just the more principles here as far as jurisdiction. We've been literally right now, we're just going through jurisdiction and what aspects and plays. And one of the questions that was coming through was in relation to statutory courts and criminal courts, right? So, or
Mhm.
excuse me, the administrative side, small tickets, and then versus the criminal side. And my aspect is I'm always going to play it of the highest of authority. I don't care if it's a statutory or if it's a criminal. I'm still playing big boy because these are the principles that establish my freedoms and what I know to be true. And, you can try to play that statutory crap all you want or the contractual
Right.
agreement, which I have none. I don't have really much of a nexus to any state whatsoever, but some people still do. And I was just wondering, what do you think is the best way to approach? Do you still go forward with challenging the jurisdiction with affidavits and,
Well,
motions to
absolutely.
suppress and abatements and things of that nature?
Yeah, the thing that we've gotten a lot of success from is the non-statutory abatement, and you're not filing it with the clerk of the court. You're actually serving it on the county sheriff. You're having them served. Okay, a process using a process server or registered mail to where they sign for it, and that's the non-statutory abatement, and that's been the best approach. We've got a case right now going in Florida where we also have the thing that is taped to your front door. And it's basically a notice to peace officers that are trying to force a warrant, uh, which is invalid because there's no claim. There has to be a claimant that you've done them harm or injury. So with the Florida case that we're working on right now, which was quite humorous, he's got one of those ring systems on his at his door. So when the I've got somebody coming in. Come on in. Come in. She's got her headphones on.
You
I'm
see?
I'm on a show, but grab a seat. Anyway, so when he looked at his thing, the cop, the sheriff's deputy came and he looked at it and he left. And then another one came back, plain clothes, and he could tell it was a cop because he had a badge on his belt and a gun. And he came back and took a picture of it and left. They didn't even bother
Mm,
knocking on the door.
mm.
So yeah, it's what we're doing is starting to make sense to them because I think they're coming into the reality that all crimes are commercial. And if you haven't received that yet, ask for it and I'll get it to you. I've got so much documentation that has worked and continues to work. But you're also, keep this in mind, Cameron, you're also dealing with a lawless system that has no respect for the rule of law. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely agree with you there. I definitely agree that there's aspects. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen and got on the record where, the judges are like, yeah, we don't subscribe to that constitutional theory here. It's like, what are you talking about, bro? Did you really just say that on my
oh, I've
record?
I've I've actually heard judges come right out clean and say, Mr. Martin, if you bring up the Constitution one more time, I'm going to hold you in contempt.
So yeah, it's crazy. That's wild
Well,
in and
it's
of
not
itself.
crazy because we are considered, and this goes back to, I want to say, I could be mistaken, but I want to say it was 1948, that we the people are considered enemies of the state.
Hmm.
And I'll look into that further. I know that there is documentation calling us enemies of the state.
Hmm. Now, and everything that you dropped over to me yesterday in the email, I dropped over in our Discord for everybody freely to get a hold of. And I wanted to ask, like, what we've noticed or what I've noticing that I've just kind of held off on bringing up today is in relation to people, that have these issues within their states. I've kind of mentioned on the aspect of going about through the states and kind of getting the education within each town or city, getting 100 people to kind of spread the message a little bit more, act on it, know their rights so that they can be able to move forward with their own federal litigation or complaint without having to rely on a lawyer itself. So going in, understanding
Now, you
ourselves.
don't you want assistance of counsel, you never want an attorney. And keep this in mind. This is very important. Whenever you hire an attorney, not a lawyer. Lawyers and attorneys aren't the same thing. Okay? A lot of attorneys call themselves lawyers. The word lawyer means learned in the law. Okay. And it was the duty of every grown man when he reached the age of majority, that's 18, that he knew his rights in the law. See, one of the biggest things that we brought in from England during our times as colonists were law books and the Bible. Those are the things that you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know your rights and then be able to stand on those. And
Mm.
the way things are today, if you don't know your rights, you have no rights. And
Yep.
they
Tell it.
prey on your ignorance of the law.
Yep.
And you don't know how many judges, when you start doing what I call the judges interrogatories, which you can find on our website as well. If you're having trouble finding it, you just contact me and I will email it to you. I've got
Now,
so
what?
many things that are not on the website because I don't have an IT guy working on my website currently. My IT guy was running for sheriff and is now a sheriff. So
That's
I
awesome.
lost I lost my IT guy. So
That's cool.
we're always looking for a new IT guy. I just don't have time uh, to mess with that right now. But the judge's interrogatories are very, very important and how to question a judge and never answer their questions. If a judge asks you a question, do not make a statement into the record. Always ask a question. And when you're asked a question, answer it with another question. Mr. Martin, do you know your rights as I've read them to you? Absolutely not, but I am aware of them. Are you aware that I'm aware of my rights? You constantly play that game with them. They're
Hmm.
always going to be trying to pull you into their statutory system. And the way
Hmm.
you break out of it is, well, Judge, did you take an oath of office to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution? Wait for him
Hmm.
to answer. And if you heard like some of the videos of me in the courtroom that are absolutely hilarious, when I had that judge the last time, when this happened the first time I was in Pennsylvania, I simply asked a question to the judge. Is this a court of record? Yes or no? And he says, well, yes, it is. I said, great. I said, did you take an oath of office to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States of America? And he goes, yes. And I said, are you going to uphold that oath today? And he says, well, I could say yes. And I said, no, sir, I need an affirmative. Yes or no. And he ran off the bench. And he stayed off the bench until 4:30.
Oh, watch
And there
out.
was 13 other cases behind me.
That's crazy.
So,
Oh.
you have to hold them accountable. You have
Mm.
to hold their oath of office, and they're going to play games. And
Yeah. Someone
did
was
not,
just talking about that oath of office. What was it? Ralph over here? I think it was Ralph. Wasn't you talking about it, Ralph? Yes or no? Oh wait, hold on. Jeez, Louise, I got something going on. Boom. Okay, you can unmute yourself, Ralph. There you go.
Yes, that was
hi,
Yeah.
Ralph.
And so Ralph, how do you do it? I want to see. Why don't you tell Rick how you do it, and then let's just kind of collaborate from there. See where it goes.
well. It's kind of ironic. The oath of office for the judge that I'm having to deal with here in Siskiyou County, I got from my friend Naomi Town, which Rick knows.
Yes, I've been working with her. As a matter of fact, she's constantly,
Yes, you
uh,
have.
yeah, she's constantly asking me questions, and I'm sending her paperwork. And yeah,
Yeah, I
it's a
really
pleasure to
appreciate
speak
you
with
working
people
with
that
her, Rick.
recognize what we're doing.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rick, can you answer a question as far as this age of majority that you're going over? Because
Yeah,
the
the
last
age of
time,
majority is 18.
well, according to 54 Stat 183, the age of majority as passed by the legislature was actually 21. So
21.
I'm asking, when did that actually change?
I want to say that changed in 71 or 72. I could be mistaken. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, it went back to the age of 18. And I would say that was right around the Vietnam War. Actually, it was. It was probably before that
So
because
it was used to get people to come right
people
out
were
of high
being,
school and go to war for them.
that's correct.
And
That
it
was,
was. How do y'all
yeah,
think
that
it
was
was put in
Vietnam
place?
during the draft.
Was
It
it
was
another
Vietnam.
resolution or executive order? What do y'all think it was?
It was under the 21st Amendment.
Hmm.
It was under the 21st Amendment, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even get really into the amendments past the original 13th Amendment.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
asking
no, that's
because
good. Good
that
question.
was that one of the few pieces of statutes that I found where they recognized that us as people are sovereigns was that in the same one where they classified as becoming of age of majority of being 21. It's all in the same statute. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Yeah, well, statutory law is not what we're going by. And if you any of you want to get with me, I will send you documents that I've put together years ago. Um, one of which is all crimes are commercial. So, and when you're dealing with an administrative court, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Um, Now, Cameron, did you happen to look at the conversation with the judges that I transcribed? Did you
No,
see that one?
I ain't had a chance to look at anything yet, just due to the fact that people have been having me do work for them in relation to helping them formulate templates as far as motions to suppress everything. So I've been really
I
busy on just
read
work.
it. I read it. It was crazy. It
Okay,
was
Austin read
crazy.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It's
it's
very
nuts.
telling. And
Very
when
tough.
you stand on your sovereignty, the court is there to protect you. They're going to Mickey Mouse you around. They're going to do everything they can to knock you off point to get you into contract. But a man who knows his rights and then forces it on the courts, what happens is if the chief judge hears about it, most chief judge will go after their underlink judges and tell them, do not mess with that man. Do not mess with that woman because you're going to get burnt. See, most people are afraid of the judges. The stories that you heard about me are true. I'm the first one to walk in there with a cowboy hat on. And they're like, Mr. Martin, get that cowboy hat off in my courtroom. And I'm like, is that an order? And the judge will say yes. And I'll pull out my yellow legal pad and I'll write on that legal pad $1,000 to take off cowboy hat. And I'll call the bailiff over and I said, hand that to the judge. And the judge reads it. And I said, if you're going to give orders, I'm going to give you a bill. And you do things like that. I mean, I used to get a lot away with a lot back in before the scamdemic. And judges, once you caught them doing something inaccurate, and outside their oath of office and the scope of the court, they tend to back off. But what we've seen ever since after March of 2020, when they were shutting down the courts, the judges have become more and more arrogant and believing that they have this power. And I think what it is they're afraid of people that do know their rights and it getting out, and we start becoming more and more prevalent in the court systems. And that was the whole thing. Oh, you're going to get a ticket for not putting a diaper on your face. We're going to force you to close your businesses. These are all mandates. They're not law. They have no basis in law. And as a matter of fact, majority of what they were doing is in violation of all 10 points of the Nuremberg Code. So when you start looking at what they've done, it was Dr. Dave Martin and I were the first ones to come out after these governors. And we were telling everybody it was a scamdemic. And that was even before the jabs came out. But we warned you guys about the jabs. We already had the evidence that this was already perfected as a bioweapon in 2018, 2 years before the shutdowns. We knew the game that they were going to play. And the game they were playing was the scamdemic was nothing more than a Trojan horse to bring in the economic collapse of America. And they did a very successful job of it. And it was people like Constitutional Law Group and my team that were out there. I mean, we saved over 30,000 businesses. And then I became enemy number one because I was standing up for the rights of the people. And they were not getting their full weight. And if you watch any of the videos that we've done, Dr. Dave Martin, myself, and we started the Reopen America tour. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. So the first case that went public was with Bob the Barber up in Snohomish, Washington, 79-year-old Marine, that they were trying to shut down his barber shop that he had open for 50 years. And he has at that time, he had a 39-year-old daughter with brain cancer that he was caring for. He couldn't afford to shut down or pay for her medications, any of that. So I left Texas and traveled 38 hours straight up to Snohomish, Washington, where the first thing we did was file a mass tort claim against Governor Inslee, and we filed a mass tort claim against Robert Ferguson, the Attorney General, and we also filed a mass tort claim against Bill Gates.
Okay.
So that made the headlines. Okay. And then when we made the headlines, what happens? Then all of a sudden we have Black Lives Matter and Antifa showing up in town. We found out ahead of time that they were there to burn down Bob the Barber. Well, we knew it. We heard about it ahead of time before their buses even showed up. And we went and picked up they had pallets of bricks dropped off in the alleyways of this small town. And we went and got all the pallets of bricks and took them away. And I had a militia of 800 men put together in less than 20 minutes, all of them with their packs and their ARs all lined up, 400 on one side of the street and 400 on the other. And you hear them coming down the streets after they're getting off the bus, going towards Main Street, because at the end of Main Street is Bob the Barber. And they come down marching. These are our streets. These are our streets. They turned the corner, saw all of us standing there, fully armed. I'm standing in the middle of the street, cowboy hat on, my long black coat, and a 45 strapped to my hip. They didn't even want to argue with us. They got back on their buses. That same night was the night that they burnt down Seattle.
Hey, bro.
And then I was listed as a white supremacist and a militia leader. And what I thought was quite humorous is there's 4 black guys standing behind me in full camos with their ARs. So I guess there's a bunch of black guys that like following a white supremacist. I mean, if you're going to give a story, you might want to take those guys out of the photograph.
Hey, so check it out. All right. So what we've been talking about this morning is a lot of things that as far as people learning the basics and then coming in a little bit more advanced, because people, just don't know the basic rights. So what we've been doing this morning is just kind of running through the jurisdiction aspects again, as far as letting people know what kind of things they can do. So we've been going through affidavits, rebuttals of those affidavits. We've been going through motions to suppress evidence, notice of demands of abatement, the process of submitting a motion for disqualification of a judge in relation to not ruling in favor of us for certain principles. We've gone through a lot this morning already in relation to what
Okay.
we could do. What I wanted to
Right.
ask you right now, real quick, is in relation to, let's say we go through and get these things dismissed, or we know that we have action already in relation to constitutional violations. How do you feel about doing our own propria persona federal or state suits? And do you think that people are ready to be able to, on a mass level, do it themselves without having some sort of representation?
No, you never want representation, but you can always have somebody like me come in as assistance of counsel. And that's, if you read the Sixth Amendment, it's quite clear. I mean, the Bar Association didn't even come into effect until 1909 in Chicago, Illinois. So how does that supersede the Sixth Amendment? Okay, it doesn't. It says you have the right to assistance of counsel. And as I was about to say earlier, whenever you hire a bar attorney to be your counsel, guess what you've done? You've heard me say this. You can read it for yourself. You're now a ward of the court. You're considered an imbecile of unsound mind, giving the court automatic jurisdiction over you. So you never hire a bar attorney to represent you. But you can always have assistance of counsel, and that can be a bean picker. It doesn't matter. It's whoever you feel comfortable helping you with your case. You're going to be the one that runs your case, but you can always refer to somebody sitting right beside you as assistance of counsel. So use that.
Perfect.
You might go
Perfect.
right ahead.
Yeah, no, that was great. So then that would lead me on to my next question. Some things that I've been doing in relation to since, since the channel's kind of started and we really started getting a lot of movement over here is in relation to kind of looking at different aspects of traffic law reform, which just kind of moving, where we see some cracks, just where there's some traction actually. And what we've
Okay.
come to find, of course, is Nevada. January 1st of last year, 2024, they made it to where they decriminalized all traffic laws, so people ain't getting their cars towed and all that good stuff. Tickets ain't getting them put in jail. And then we're also seeing some more action in relation to class action lawsuits, right? In relation to
Mhm.
Texas's driver
Let's
responsibility
call it what it
program.
is. Let's not
Hold
go
on,
with it's
hold on
not
though. Just
traffic
let
law. Yeah,
Okay, well, let me finish this one thought real quick.
sure.
Then you got the driver responsibility program, which I was actually a victim of. No cap. Like I probably spent over $3,000 trying to get my license back from this stupid driver responsibility program. And because it's fraud, I could probably go back and do a suit like everybody's saying. So that's cool. But we also know that when a class action lawsuit was brought forth a week before discovery on that case, the Governor Greg Abbott completely signed that off. Then let's look at another aspect of it. Then we come back over to Tennessee, and I just found somebody. I reached out to them, and in 2018, they had something going on in the same aspect in relation to they figured out that the traffic laws in relation to the fines and fees of getting the suspension was unconstitutional. How do you feel about bringing forth class action lawsuits to get action in what we want to see rather than just always pursuing that dollar or monetary figure?
Okay, you're going to look at, we keep calling it traffic law. Let's not call it traffic law. It's transportation law, number one. And then you're going to, the AAMVA is, it's what basically dictates the statutes and codes of traffic. Okay, and that's for Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And that's a book you guys need to get from me. I got something that you probably can't get your hands on. And you go to the bottom of page 22 and the top of page 23 of the AAMVA, which runs all the DPS, Department of Public Safety, all across the country. Everybody adheres to this. So you go to go to the one that they answer to,
Okay.
the motor vehicle stuff, and then you start beating them up with their own regulations. They define what a driver is at the bottom of page 22 and the top of page 23. Gotta love it.
Yeah. So I think my thing is though is that like we're wanting to really get this change, right? Which again, I was moving towards like those class action lawsuits. Do you think the class action lawsuits will bring about the majority of the change, or should we just start individually, working on everybody being able to know how to move into filing their own federal or state complaint? What do you think is going to be more beneficial?
You're getting a bunch of people to agree is difficult. So, and what you're going to do is you're not going to call it a lawsuit. You're going to do a tort claim against the arresting officer. And when you're pulled over, that is an arrest, by the way. It's called a custodial. You've learned this from Eddie. Okay. Eddie and I
Right.
talk about this all the time. It's a custodial arrest. If I'm not free to go, that's called a custodial arrest.
Now,
So
hey,
even being pulled
Ja-
over,
Hey Rick, I
right.
got somebody. I got somebody that was
Sure.
questioning me on that. And Jack, if you want to come up real quick and just ask, because you was asking me about custodial arrest. So why don't you come up real quick and ask a question in relation to that, like you was asking me?
No, I didn't have a question in relation to custodial arrest. I was just letting people know that uh, once a cop pulls you over, and you feel that you're not able to leave, then you're under arrest and it's a violation. I was just
I think
explaining
he
it.
was. I think he was saying that you
But
couldn't find anything in relation to seeing that it was custodial arrest.
no, I think that was someone else that was.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe somebody was then. They was like, I can't find anything in relation to custodial arrest. And I was like, well, nah, that's a real term, bro. Like that's everywhere. So I was kind of confused
Right.
in what they're saying in that. But where do we find language for custodial arrest? Just within the case opinion and case law itself?
Well, yeah, you're going to find it in one of the books I've got. I don't have it with me to show it. I'm kind of ill prepared, but one of the books is the LexisNexis is what all state troopers, and it's about this thick. We're talking almost 3 inches thick book, and it's the LexisNexis Texas Traffic and Criminal Law Manual, and you will find it in there that any stop that where the subject they make you the subject is not free to go, that is called a custodial arrest.
Yeah,
And
straight up.
without the permission, it's always under the discretion of the police officer, or should I say peace officer. It's up to their discretion whether they want to detain you in handcuffs and all that, which is also a felony. But I'm not
Well,
going to
isn't
get
it
into that.
because isn't it always because they can ask our consent, right? But that's it.
Right.
All they can do is ask. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Correct. And then that's why you see a lot of guys go, am I free to go?
Yeah.
Because
Straight up.
hey, you're trapping the cop, because if he says no, you're not, then fine. I'm under arrest then.
Yeah. Go and arrest
Okay.
me then. Go ahead. Let's get this over with right now.
No, the
Come
moment
on,
that you're
arrest
not
me.
free to go, the
Yeah,
moment you're
come
not
on.
free to go, it's that's it. That's a lawsuit. And
Yeah.
if you saw that case with $8.5 million, that was a California case. A woman and her daughter pulled into a Starbucks, and the cop came up, and she's like, I don't have, what have I done? What have I done? And end up putting them in the back seat in handcuffs for an hour, and then releasing them. And she won that case for $8.5 million.
Dang, that makes me wonder how much I'm going to win on my Hood River one then. Damn. Was she a white woman? Because that's the kind of white I
Oh,
want.
she was a black woman.
Oh,
She
okay.
was a
Well, that's the
black
kind of
woman.
black I want to be then. I need to hook up with her.
Yep. She filed
All
a
right.
tort claim against him.
Hey, look, I
She
got a lot
filed
of
a
people.
tort claim against him.
Hey, I got a lot of
ahead.
people in here that have been waiting for you. So I'm going to ask you one last question, and then I'm going to open it up to my members, because it's not me that runs this. It's all of us. Okay. I just want to let you know that that's how we work over here. So my last question for you is going to be in relation to the movement we have going. We now have over 702 signatures on our traffic law reform petition. This petition breaks down what our ultimate goal
Okay.
is. You're demanding that, which again, I know you say change it over to transportation, but we know that traffic and transportation, they're pretty much the same on definition. We can tweak up some.
Yeah, I'd like to.
But
I'd
what I
like to
want to
look at it,
okay, all right.
what you're
So
doing. I would love to, I think it's a positive to get people, because what you're doing is you're educating, you know, the common folk, but
wait,
also you have to
don't
take,
just say don't just say it's us. You don't know how many
okay,
people here every day are
right,
spreading what we're doing. Yeah, it's not just me, man. It literally is everybody, bro. It is wild out here.
right,
Like my boy David over here, David S. Slow. He's over here leaving. I can tell you a quick situation. He's leaving jury notifications in the courthouse on little tables and
mhm,
stuff, little pamphlets, right?
right.
They come and attack the boy just because he left jury notification pamphlets in his own public
Oh, is that
courthouse.
too bad that we're educating the public on what authority they
Yeah.
have over the court? Oh, is that really a bad thing?
I'm telling you, man. So
Listen,
we've got a lot
it
of
takes
action all
guts.
over, and I just wanted to see, if we was able. Well, we're getting there. We're gonna get to 1,000 really quickly. We're getting there, and as soon
Mhm.
as we get to 1,000, we're gonna start sending it off to the higher ups. And I understand, it's a game against us and them. But if we can get some co-sponsors, we can get some movement and start getting it back to understanding we the people come first, and we demand what goes. That's number one. I don't care how corrupt anything is. When there's enough
Right.
numbers in force, we can make something happen in the right way, and that's what I got planned. So all I'm saying is, if we could get up to 1,000, could we get your support and maybe see if you can help us get that bad boy up to 5 and 10 and 100,000 signatures?
We can, if you remember my channel before they took it down, my other channel, I had over 1 million followers. So can I reach out there and do it? Yeah, put it in my, send the document to me. Let me look at it. Let me review it. And if it needs tweaking, let me tweak it. And I'm telling you, we can go viral as we've done in the past. I
Yes,
mean,
sir,
there's a
we
lot
can.
of stuff that I've done, and my name is, as you know, everybody knows when it comes to traffic law, I'm the most dangerous son of a bitch out there, including Eddie Craig. We're bad boys.
Hey man, there's a huge movement right now for freedom, bro. That energy is so strong and resonating in our country from the suppression, not only from the aspects of what happens, in relation to the exosomes or virus, whatever y'all want to call them, or in relation to the aspects of just this past 4 years with this Biden administration. We've been suppressed, and that bottle is popping, man. That bottle is popping right now, and the energy of freedom is ringing.
It's the awakening.
Hey, it's here, bro. That bell is ringing. So what I want to do is I want to open up the floor to everybody right now. Y'all come up. You can unmute yourselves, but do it in a polite, slow manner. I'm gonna keep it free for right now, so I ain't got to do too much monitoring on y'all. But y'all come up and ask any questions in a professional manner for Rick. Okay, y'all.
Okay, I got one for you, sir. This is the
Absolutely.
first. This is the first foundation member. I've got roots going back to the 19-year-old revolutionary fighter who became a judge in Indiana and died of the flu. My dad was a Purple Heart winner, and he swore 2 times in my life, and that was when he was moving. So this is for Rick. Moving is one of the most stressful times in one's life. So just be aware of it, Rick. And that's my only thought of the day for everyone. When you're moving, it's one of the most stressful times in one's life. And God bless America. We all fight for our liberty and our freedom. And listen to what Rick is telling us. That's all. Thank you.
Well, thanks for your input. God bless, and always stay in the fight.
I've got a short question, if I may. Um, I'm looking into uh litigations against the judge, arresting officer, and even my ex-attorney, and
Mhm.
and formulating the complaint, looking at relief. How should I determine what kind of relief I want if it's going to be monetary?
Okay, that's gonna be your personal decision. What I would suggest that you find is I've got I want to say it's the second edition. It's a good book to have. You can find it pre-owned also, and that is the LexisNexis uh, Common Law Process of Torts. And that is something they give examples of how to put your tort claim against judges, prosecutors, and dirty cops. It's in the LexisNexis, and courts respect LexisNexis because that's what they use. And this will actually give you examples how to go forward with your case. It's very
One,
good to have.
thank you. One more follow-up question.
Certainly.
Like, I have very clear constitutional violations that were
Mhm.
on video, on record, and to me, easy to prove. How do I, when I file that tort, how do I get over that federal judge from saying, well, that district judge has immunity? How do I get over that?
They don't. They don't have immunity, okay? And that's what you're going to do is you're going to hold them in their private capacity. You're not going to call them Judge Matthews or what have you. You're going to call him Thomas Payne or what have you. You're going to name him in his private capacity. And then you're going to show that he violated his oath of office and that he unlawfully trespassed on you, whether it's the cop, the prosecutor, what have you. You're going to name each one of them as single individuals in their private capacity, and you're going to file a tort claim on them. There's no such thing as judicial immunity. That is all nonsense, and I can prove it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so with if a federal judge comes back, let's say I do that, do it in the private capacity, and a federal judge still comes back and says, but this happened while he was trying to administer law or whatever bullshit. How do I argue with that federal judge or
It's not
or
gonna fly
appeal it?
because it's not gonna fly because you're going in the private capacity and you're also showing that they violated their own oath of office. And when they violate their oath of office, now keep this in mind, the charges could get very stringent on that judge, that prosecutor, or that sheriff because when you violate your oath of office, that is called warring against the Constitution, which also is known as treason.
Treason, yep. Thank you very much. I yield.
You're quite welcome.
Okay, Mr. Martin, wasn't there a United States Supreme Court? I'm trying to remember it, in which they actually made it known because someone challenged the fact of these arrests being considered arrests, these stops. And states came back and they said, no, if you're not allowed free to go, this is considered an arrest.
Yes. I can actually, like I said, I just got finished moving two big, huge trucks. So I'm not prepared. I wanted to jump on as quickly as I could.
No problem.
So,
I just thought there was out there. I swear I
yes,
remember.
there is. And if you email me, if you can put up my email address, it's don't.tread.on.me at snakebite, one word, snakebite.com. If you email me and you tell me what you're looking for in the subject line, it's very important because I get over 1,000 emails a week. And if I have something in the subject line, I'll jump on it quickly.
Okay, my second and last question here is,
Certainly.
I'm right in the middle. It's about 88 pages long so far. I got a table of contents because there are so many abuses against the rights of the people in the traffic. But I named all the municipal and magistrate judges within South Carolina,
Okay.
as well as all the officers from even Swindler, who's actually their trainer for the local police, the sheriffs, the deputy sheriffs, the state patrol.
Yeah.
I have them all listed in actually a criminal complaint that I'm presenting to the actual United States District Attorney over South Carolina. Now,
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, is that really my best approach, or best to do the tort? I thought bringing in a RICO case against them would probably be the best deal to bring all this stuff to a halt.
Right. RICO cases are very difficult. I'm just going to tell you that. I mean, we all know that it's all racketeering, but they're very difficult to win. Okay. These prosecutors know how to defeat you. You've got to hit them with things that they're not used to, and they're not used to being served a common law tort. They're
Well,
used to
here's the
they're
issue.
used to always dismissing things and saying they have immunity, but when you hit them in their private capacity with a common law tort, they don't know how to handle those things. So
Right, but
I
I'm
definitely like to
including,
show you how to do it.
but I'm including everything in there because every single officer that they're filing these legal court cases, that's practicing law without a license. Every single traffic court case.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there, there starts the process. And the judge.
Well, before you say practicing law without a license, you need to know that there is a license to practice law, and that's all you have to do is go back to Sims versus Ahern, which is a Arkansas Supreme Court case that states there's no such thing as a license to practice law.
Exactly, because they just have bar cards. It's like a plumbers association.
That's right.
But when I'm dealing with this though, they keep excuse me, my throat here.
No worries.
Trying to get my train of thought back real quick. In their own, I hate to say it, their own state database, which makes all these traffic tickets a matter of public record that anyone can pull up. And I pull up there, and every single one of them, there is no plaintiffs. Every single time,
Of course not.
every single time, the plaintiff is actually listed as the officer who filed the legal complaint. I mean, the legal court case. But they have not been injured, harmed, or damaged in any way, shape, or form. But they're
correct.
So in one case, they're being listed as the party of the case. But in the other thing, when they court, they're saying, well, we're not the party of the case. We're just a witness. It's like you can't have it both.
Witness to what? Right.
But well, I got over 5 million copies of every single one of these court cases where it shows them as physical proof, screenshots as objective evidence. I mean, this is pretty clear cut that it's an act of RICO.
I'm with you. I'm not going to discourage you either way. I prefer, instead of trying to hit them on the RICO, is just nail them on the fact that they're outside their oath of office and they're outside their duty as a peace officer. Because I get them all the time, get on the stand. So are you a licensed law enforcement agent? Of course I am. Good. Can you pull it out of your wallet and show it to the jury, please?
Next.
And what happens is it's a licensed peace officer. They're duty bound to uphold the peace instead of being fee chasers, what we know them to be. That's exactly what they've turned into, is fee chasers. The term law enforcement didn't even come into play until 1966. They're known as peace officers. And the top peace officer is what? The sheriff. The sheriff can arrest everybody in the county when they violate the rights of we the people. That includes, they can arrest the governor. They can arrest the president of the United States. The sheriff is our duty bound to protect our unalienable rights. He or she is supposed to protect us from intrusive government as well. So when they're allowing the PD, which is a police chief, is appointed by the mayor. They're not voted into office. Keep that in mind. So what you need to focus in on is getting with your county sheriff and getting them up to speed to protecting your rights from an intrusive government. And you can find that in Anderson's Sheriff Handbook. There's volume 1 and 2. And I've got that on my website as well. And I also have the National Liberty Alliance condensed version, which is only 87 pages. But it's well worth taking that to the sheriff, the National Liberty Alliance's sheriff handbook that they've condensed, and bringing it with 5 other people, half a dozen people going to meet with the county sheriff. Call and make an appointment. Say, I'd watch a few minutes of your time. And then when you show up 6 people strong, it's not going to be so easy to bully you or push you around. You hand them that sheriff handbook, and then you say, okay, we wanted to drop this off to you, and we want another meeting a week from now to discuss it. Can we set up a meeting next Tuesday, 4 o'clock? See, you start holding them accountable. Make them realize that we're the power and not the subjects.
Thank you. Nice one. Who's got a next question? I got two pinned up with their hands. Either one of y'all come up, start talking.
Yeah, I got a question.
Go ahead then.
Okay, thank you. So I'm in the state of Colorado, and the other day I was on the highway, and I got pulled over by a state trooper. So what happened was there's a pothole, and the pothole kind of just took me to the right, and he got me a ticket for weaving. And I was just wondering what would be the next step to how to approach it.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is you're going to nail them on the fact that where's the injured party, and there isn't an injured party, and you aren't engaged in commerce. Now you're going to have to ask them if you're going to pursue this yourself, and you put that state trooper on the stand, get ready to tear them apart. Traffic law, okay, transportation law. You need to learn it, and that's what we're here to teach you, is how to get those documents in your hand. And your first thing is to deny. If it was like within 72 hours, send it back. Send the ticket back to them and say, this is not proper service. And it's not. So yeah, I can definitely work with you on anything that you have. I'm just a little unprepared. That's why I'm a little rushed right now. I definitely just wanted to get on here for Cameron, let him know that I'm proud of what he's doing, and I'm glad he's in the fight, and that he's not being ignored by me, and neither are you folks. I'm just a little. I have another show I've got to do in just a few minutes, so those that have questions, please bring them forward. I've got to get prepared for a 4:00 show.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Rick, I'd like to take a minute to thank you for all that you do and all the knowledge that you freely share. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys, like Naomi, thanks for following through and holding your public servants accountable. You have to.
Hey, I got a question for you, Rick.
Certainly.
Hey, do you still get pulled over, or do they all know you and know not to mess with?
Well, put it this way, I traveled the United States with my Don't Tread on Me plates and with my Lexus. I traveled to every state but Hawaii and Alaska. And the whole time that I was traveling around, I got pulled over 3 times, never even got a ticket.
So
the only time things got difficult is when I got to Michigan. And that's because Governor Whitmer, Sheriff Darleaf, and myself filed charges against or claims against Governor Whitmer. I filed a mass tort claim against her for shutting down her state. I also filed election fraud against Dana Nessel, the Attorney General. So there's a few good people in Michigan that like me there, but let me tell you, we got some evil people in play. I've got charges right now or claims against 5 judges out of Michigan, and they've done everything. It was Michigan that actually froze my bank accounts, and it was Governor Whitmer that had all my accounts frozen. And same thing with Dr. Dave Martin. We had just come out of court, and before we know it, I was going to go pay my hotel bill, and I gave him my American Express Black Card. Didn't work. Gave him my debit card. It didn't work. By the grace of God, I had $600 cash on me. But yeah, they froze all my bank. Listen, the courts are going to play dirty. We got people.
That's taking your property without due process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But if you know anything about Gretchen Whitmer, that whole thing about them taking over the Capitol and kidnapping her was an all FBI setup. So they were planning on her being the VP and Governor Newsom being the one running for president. How many people knew that? Yeah. So yeah, they went after me hard because we were on the Tucker Carlson show, we were on Glenn Beck. way before my arrest with defending Marlena's Bistro and Pizzeria in Holland, Michigan. And that was the woman from Poland that escaped communism only to come here to get another taste of communism.
Right.
So when you once you get a ticket, do you respond to it like
Yeah, immediately. And whoever
and
the
say,
charging agency, whether it's the PD or sheriff, I'm gonna mail it back to them and say, failure to show cause, and I will mail it back to them. And then what I do, within 72 hours, it's been a long time since I've had a traffic ticket. I'll just tell you that. And but yeah, when you start doing a non-statutory abatement, you're also sending the ticket back, and you're also doing what's called a non-statutory abatement, which you come to me, I'll show you how to do it. And you're not serving it with the clerk. You're serving it by registered mail or by a process server to the judge, prosecutor, and the arresting officer. He had to be an arresting officer, right? Because he wrote you a citation. You weren't free to go until he served you a citation, correct? Now you're going to serve them properly with what's called a non-statutory abatement, and they won't be able to answer it. Therefore, the case is going to get thrown out.
Hey, I wanted to ask something real quick, okay?
Sure.
Do you know Jerry Day?
Oh, yes, yes. We've worked together on several things.
Okay. I just got in contact with him in the past
Good.
12 hours. He just emailed me back. Apparently he called me and I got an email when we've been on this. So I just wanted to see if you knew him. Yeah.
Yes, I do. And as a matter of fact, I've told everybody to listen to him. We've been on a lot of stages together. Same thing with G. Edward Griffin. We've spoke on a lot of the same platforms together during certain events. What's Kevin Serbo? You know who he is?
No, I don't.
He was the one that played Hercules.
Whoa.
Diehard Christian. You remember Kevin Sorbo? He's an actor.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been on stage together. And that's when Jerry Day, we were doing something. I believe that was in Kentucky, I believe. But I've done. They bring me in a lot of times because I'm working other cases. They'll bring me in like what we're doing right now to speak to several thousand people via Zoom, and we do the same with the Constitutional Law Group when we were doing the Reopen America tour. I would like Dr. Carrie Madej or Dr. Simone Gold. We would bring them in via video in front of an audience of 1,400 people.
That's awesome. And that's what we hope to achieve in this. Because I really think it's just coming down to the aspects that everybody wants freedom once again. It's just resonating. They're hungry for knowledge. We're getting the technology now to where we can utilize technology to really help us in the development and templates and formulation of hypothetical court situations. And I mean, the whole 9 yards, we just have it at our fingertips now. We literally have a team of paralegals utilizing AI at our fingertips to help us learn, help us understand, and apply that.
Right.
That's what our goal is here, is to just empower the people.
Cameron, I applaud you. Cameron, I applaud you for what you're doing. And what I'm also going to say is I can teach law all day long, but I can't teach courage. Courage is going to come from faith. And those judges, trust me, when you go up against them, they're going to test your mettle. They're going to yell at you. They're going to scream at you. And you've got a prosecutor's always going to try to get you off point. And you just sit there and smile and hold your tongue and only answer questions with questions. And, we've done this. And
Wait, what he said? What did you say? He said, answer questions with questions. Okay. For real. We don't answer questions, but we'll
because
answer.
if you answer and put a statement on the record, they can hold you in contempt. They can do all kinds of things because you're making a statement into the record. And when you constantly you answer your question with a question, it messes with their head because if I'm saying, Judge, may I ask a few questions for clarity?
What happened there? Is everybody quiet?
Uh-oh. See, this is what I knew. I gotta unclick that bad boy again. All right, go on ahead. Sorry. Go on ahead, Rick. You're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm seeing if we're all catching up here.
Yeah,
Yeah, they cannot hold you in contempt of court if you start off, hey, may I ask questions for clarification? What are they going to say? No. They're going to, and then you start asking them they're called my judge's interrogatories.
Mm.
And they can't hold you in contempt when you just stay on point of asking them questions.
I think we are briefly talking about the interrogatories, but I think we need to talk about it more. I think we need to get a more clear understanding of utilizing that. Do you have anything you could give us now that would just help us get a better understanding of that in and of itself?
Well, yeah, it's always important. Just be like, do you remember how Columbo was? Everybody used to always make fun of stuff I used to do to judges. I would start scratching my head, and he's going, "Oh shit, Rick's gonna pull the Columbo," and I do. I'd pretend like I'm stupid, and I will draw that judge right into a trap or that prosecutor into a trap. But what I would like to do is if we can all schedule a time, because I do got to get some food in my gut. I
Yeah.
just worked my tail end off. I
Yeah.
would like to, if you guys can schedule a time that we can reconvene on where we're at today and get them over to my not just my website but my personal email. I can get you documents that we've used in court that have worked, and
That's
that's the
awesome.
whole key, is not just going in there uh, you know uh, as a punching bag.
Right.
We've perfected this stuff, and that's why it's important that we educate one another how to stand up. And like I said, courage comes from faith, and that's one thing I can't teach.
One quick
Right.
question, Rick. What do you
Certainly.
say? What do you say when they ask you what is your name? Because that's a question.
Well, yeah, they're going to ask you what your question is, and you're going to ask them, well, who has a claim against me? I will answer to a name. Now, who has a claim against me? Is there a claim against me? And whose
Well,
name?
what is your name? What is your name?
Well, sir, I would be happy to answer that, but is there somebody in this courtroom that knows my name and has a valid sworn affidavit claim that I've done them harm or injury? Is there, sir?
Yeah, I got cut off and the judge wouldn't hear me because I wouldn't give him my name.
Well, that's because you're putting them in a trap, because they're going to try to get you into that all caps name, as you already know.
Right.
And it's like, okay, where do you want to go with that? Are we talking about the all caps name? You want what are we talking about, Judge? Because there's a lot of people with similar names out there. Where's the claim against me? Is there somebody that has a sworn affidavit claim under penalty of perjury that I've done them harm or injury? And if they are, will they please stand and make their claim and point me out that I'm the one that harmed or injured them?
Exactly. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Hey, Rick, there's,
Yes.
I dealt with a judge where I asked, is it not my time to ask questions of the witness? And she would say, yes. And every time I started to ask a question where I would actually ask about the law, she would immediately cut me off, not allow the officers to answer the question. This went back and forth a lot. And she kept on raising her voice. I'd raise my voice, not above hers, and I never threatened her, but up to the same level she was at. And she called me in contempt and had that same officer throw me in jail. Now that's not bad enough. She then transferred the case after I got out of jail to that of another judge. And this time I said, okay, I'm not even going to go into the court. So I filed a motion to dismiss, and I listed like 5-6 items specifically and mentioned the law. And they went through and had a court hearing without me. They just said, well, we're just going to do it without you. Did in absentia and proclaimed I was guilty.
That's a violation of due process of law. You have the right to face and question your accusers. And I want to know who the Count of Monte Cristo is. I see somebody on there. That's one of my favorite movies.
But both of these judges, I tried to. And if I told them, they said, well, we're going to do the IRS. We're going to come take your money. I said, listen, have at her. Go ahead and try. As far as I'm concerned, you guys can go pound sand.
Well,
and they've yet to take.
The bottom line is you're being denied due process of law in just about every case that's ever been in the courtrooms. Most of what you guys are dealing with, You need to hit them with lack of due process of law. And I've got paperwork on that. It's called
Well, we've been going through it, Rick.
oh, you
I'm
have?
telling you, man. Yeah, bro. We've been going through it. Today we've been going through heavy on the process. My boy
Okay.
Dave, he just had an appeal get
Abuse of
denied.
process. You've got that paperwork. I sent it to you.
Well, you may have sent me one, but I haven't gone through it because we just built an advanced process as well. So
Okay.
if I have some time, I will get over to it. But we're going through one right now, a workflow, procedural workflow, advanced canonical as well, going through everything as far as bringing up all the principles, doctrines, rules, going in relation to the violations on the judges or the prosecutor's side, invoking the injunctive stay, going up higher, getting a judicial review. So we're going in detail, very deep on things for people.
Let me jump off now. And
No, that's fine. Here, what I wanted to do though is I just wanted to give an opportunity for everybody to say, for everybody to unmute themselves and say thank you to Rick real please.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you
you.
so much, Rick.
You guys are always welcome.
you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Go eat,
Again,
Rick. Go
I
eat.
look
Go
forward
eat,
to
Rick.
seeing you again.
It's always my pleasure.
All right, Rick. We'll see you on the next time. I'll connect up with you,
And
brother.
yeah, if we could get something, and I'm gonna get you the abusive process, and that's going to be very important because that's what we use in the majority of our cases is abusive process. So God bless you all. I'm going to jump off, and we'll be in touch soon.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Bye.